Man, my pickup needs a wash. But that's not going to be a priority right now. The thing I need to do right now is continue getting my house in order, because I moved the last week of October, probably the last few days of October. I started moving into this house that I'm in now, which this is it. It was formerly a libreria. Well, that's where they sell paper and envelopes, and so we can see Volcán de Fuego from here, fire volcano. Right up here is a Colegio Parroquial. I always pronounce it wrong. Parroquial. Yeah, that's right. It's a Catholic college, missionary college. Right down there, if I can see, right down, well, when you come to that corner, it turns a little bit and goes down, and that's Primer Avenida. That's why when I first started making videos living here in Guatemala, although I didn't give my name, I just made videos and put them on YouTube and Facebook. So right now, though kind of embarrassing, this is the new place. Now, all of this is not mine. The bikes are mine. The bicycles are mine. But a lot of this stuff was left here by the previous owner, and the new owners haven't seen fit to take it out yet. This is a ladder I built. He's here in the shade. This is a ladder I built for that house I lived on, Primer Avenida, First Avenue. I built it because the house had a terrific terrace roof and just a little hole in the upstairs hallway to get up there. Seriously, it was such a strange. They don't design before they build here. They just say, well, we want to do this and this and this, and they start building. And, well, so far I haven't seen any that were done very well. But anyway, that's the situation. Behind me here on the hill is the Municipio Santa Catarina Barahona. Look, their S is falling. Their S is falling. That's the city that's right. City, well, the village, the little pueblo that's connected to San Antonio, Aguascalientes. Here's Newbie. Newbie. Look, what is it? Is it a video camera? What is that? What is that thing? She's my rescue doggie. Rena had passed away about 5 months ago, I think now. And then Newbie came along about a month or 2 months later. So maybe it was 6 months ago when Rena passed away. But she was in the street looking like skin and bones, which you see a lot here in San Antonio. If people don't want a dog, they just throw it out in the street. That's it. And then a lot of them end up living up here at the dump. It's up here about half a mile up the road here. It was right up the road from where I was living before. So a while back, a friend needed money, and he was trying to sell something to another guy, and the other guy wanted to trade him this motorcycle, but he didn't want the motorcycle, So he asked me if I would buy the motorcycle for 700 quetzales. That's a little less than $100. Because he needed the money, but he didn't want the motorcycle. And I didn't really want a motorcycle either, but so I loaned him the money, gave him the money, and received this motorcycle. Now I've spent another $50 on it, and it runs and drives now. Problem is it doesn't have plates, and supposedly it's going to be really difficult to get plates. But I live in San Antonio, Aguascalientes. It's a little pueblo. As long as I'm just using it to do little errands around this town, I don't need plates. Then on the other hand, just a week ago, another friend needed money, and his motorcycle had broke down. Something to do with a spring in the kickstarter inside the motor. The motor runs, but anyway, it's got a problem. So he wanted 900. So now I have this, I don't know, is that a Chinese mark? I don't know. This one's a Honda. It's not called Honda, but when you look it up on Google, it's made by a branch of Honda. So that's that. So the house is kind of embarrassing still. Not that my house is ever not embarrassing, but there's so much stuff left here by the other people, and I've got to sort through things and get things organized. And you wouldn't believe it, but this is after 2 months of working basically every day trying to get things organized. These are toys that were left by the other owner. All this cabinet, this, they were all here. This room is full of my stuff from the other house, except those two. Let's see, there's 2 beds here. Yeah, it's weird though. Let's see. Yeah, there's 1, 2. There's 2 beds and 3 mattresses that were left here. A refrigerator, wooden high chair. I have no way to hook up my dryer right now. I have 2 because I had a laundry business before the water went out 2 years ago. So all this stuff was left here by the previous, because it was like I said, a libreria. I don't know, the libreria basically means like a bookstore. They don't sell books, so it's more like a, what do we call it in English? Not, you know, where they sell envelopes, paper, that kind of stuff. That's what a libreria really is. And I guess they call an actual bookstore a libreria also. It's kind of weird. Okay, so there's a little storage area here. I put in these 2 shelves in here. So anyway, it's a mess, and I live alone, so it's a lot of work. I built that cross at the other house. I went almost 50 years as a Christian not wanting a cross because I just felt like, I don't know, I didn't like crosses. Even though I'm a Christian, I like the cross of Christ. I like the cross of Jesus. But I didn't like wearing a cross or having a cross. And then some time ago, probably a year ago, I realized, probably helped studying about Hebrew letters, how each letter has a meaning. And there's actually a letter, I forget which one it is in the Hebrew language, that looks like a cross. But in any case, I realized, well, a cross is just a symbol, and every letter in our alphabet is just a symbol that represents a sound that needs to be put together with other sounds to make a word. And then the word has a meaning. So I realized the cross is a symbol that has a whole story behind it that most people in the Western world know what the symbol means. So I changed my mind and said, I like the cross. I'm going to use the cross. I'm going to celebrate the cross. Here's a bicycle I bought off a junk truck way back in 2010, I believe it was. I bought this. It's a Roadmaster luxury liner. And it's from the ones that they built, I think it was 1990, maybe it was 1990, I don't know. The factory built to celebrate their, I think it was their 200th anniversary? Anyway, it was an anniversary. And they built this bike, and from what I understand, they built 5,000 of them. So they're somewhat of a collector item now. Anyway, the thing was in perfect shape. Yeah, I bought it off of a junk truck. The handlebars weren't on it. I don't know if the seat was on it. The wheels were off. But anyway, put it back together and cleaned it up. The people had actually basically never ridden it. Anyway, there's a story behind that. So here's my room, my dining room, with all my stuff still in boxes because, yeah, okay, that's an old painting I did. It was supposed to be of Sean and Dottie Boyle, and one of the midwives, Mary, on the day that, I don't know if it was the day that she was giving birth or close to it. And the person taking the picture, her name was Carol. So, well, did I get that? Maybe, did I get that right? Pretty sure it was Carol. Who married Chuck Wood, if I'm not mistaken. Now, there's a history you don't even care about. Here's a painting I did, around 2002 or 3, something like that maybe, of Parque Central. I've never finished it. It still has a lot of things that need to be done. I never finished that one either. Here's a painting I did way back in 1990. A poster, because they were trying to get Powell Butte made into a park. The people who contacted me, I had an ad in the Oregonian. You explain your idea, let me draw it. That was my ad. Explain your idea, let me draw it. And they had contacted me and asked me to do some paintings of, well, there's a zebra. I just did that for the fun of it. Zebra poster. And there's another Powell Butte Park with Mount St. Helens in the background. That is after the top blew off. Because the top blew off 10 years earlier, 1980. So anyway, you can see I have a mess to clean up. I just got finished doing some electrical work. I had discovered this thing, and the end, one of the pins was missing off the connector. So I spent about an hour fixing that, and now I'm dusting off these wood boxes that a friend gave me, which I intend to use for my library. Another unfinished painting. It's kind of the story of my life. I get started on things and I don't finish. There's a finished painting. And that was done by memory, really. of the ark, but memory having seen that scene, multiple times. It's well, the other painting of Parque Central, if you go down this street under the arc and come to that red building right there, right across the street, catty corner, is Parque Central in Antigua. Anybody want to buy this? Anyway, so you can see somebody else has been up to painting. When I rented this house, they gave me the first month free because in exchange for me painting this. Of course, I can't paint it until I get everything organized, but every wall in this house was the victim of young artists, including in my bedroom. Then this wall here, everywhere. No, every room, every wall in the house has painting on it. Interesting, no? Here's a scale that a lady gave me. It actually works, but I guess it was ugly and she wanted a new one and she was going to get rid of this one, so she gave it to me. It's missing a couple screws right here and here. No problem, not for me. I'll let it stay just exactly like that until I get around to fixing it. This dish, what do you call that? Cabinet was already here in the house. They didn't want it because it's damaged by termites, but since I've been here, I've not found any termite dust. I think the previous people had probably already taken care of the problem, but it does have. Okay, right now, like I said, everything's just stacked up. They've got some computer monitors sitting down there. Okay, so over here we have an area that was, well, it's an unfinished cement counter. They built the whole counter out of cement, kitchen counter, and they never finished it. So it's almost impossible to clean. So I've got to get, there's something called micro cement that you can get now, and you can leave it with a really smooth surface. You can add color to it. So I'm thinking about doing that. But when? Stuff to do. Okay, so this counter has a hole in it right here where this is supposed to be. This was so extremely dirty with just old, I don't know how, the stuff, it took hours. A friend of mine scrubbed on it for a couple hours and I scrubbed on it for an hour, but it's pretty new looking now. You can't see it here sitting in the shade, but it's shiny new. But I don't have all the, it's missing the water connection and the drainage. So until I get those, I can't put that in. So that will be another project. But these things are the tops to an old ice cream freezer for a store. They got rid of the freezer and I took it. I didn't have to pay for it. But I took the motor and had that turned into an air compressor. And these were sitting around, and when we moved to this house, when I moved to this house, I brought these out of storage, and they're working very well right now for a stainless steel countertop. Too bad I can't make the whole thing stainless steel. Anyway, so give you a little tour of the rest of the place here. So you can see my stuff. Still stacked up in boxes. A couple plants that I brought from the other house. Guatemala, we use pilas. I don't like to use pilas. I prefer my kitchen sink, the one that I need to put in yet, but at least this serves until I can get the sink put in. Pila. So you fill the basin up with water, and then you wash your dishes. Most people do not have one of these. This thing didn't come with a silverware holder, so that's made out of an old coffee creamer bottle. Oh, speaking of old coffee creamer bottles. Oh, here, I know you want to know about this. This vacuum cleaner, I got this vacuum cleaner from a house that was being, the person had died and the family was selling everything in the house, and then I came along and offered to clean the house, and all the stuff that was left over became mine. That vacuum cleaner was in that house, and this was around 1995, 96, somewhere in there, that I picked up that vacuum cleaner, and I'm still using it today. So why did Sears go out of business? They had good stuff. Anyway, I just recently bought this tube. For years I was using some Mickey Mouse system, but I found this at a hardware store in Antigua, Guatemala, and it's much better. So here's the backyard. Let me show you this as well while I'm just messing around, wasting my time. I mean, spending my time very wisely, allowing people who will never look at this learn something about my situation. So, a lot of this stuff was already here. These are my pallets. I put 2 of these pallets in here and leveled them out so that I could set my washing machines up. Because, hey, you got to have a washing machine. I'm not going to be out here washing my clothes in the pila, which everybody else does. Not everybody, but a lot of people. These flowers were already here in these pots. Now, I don't know what you call those flowers. What do you call those? This bicycle is not mine. It's the landlord's also. If they don't take it, I'll repair it and give it to some kid that needs a bicycle. This is the water tank. This is the water tank that I was planning on installing in the other house, but I just got so fed up with all the different problems I was having over there. And one day a friend and his daughter were visiting, Erson and his daughter Daphne, and I was complaining basically about living so far away from the center. Didn't like to walk all the way down there. I always had to take my pickup. I didn't like the situation with the water, and well, a number of other things. And they took it upon themselves, without telling me anything, to go look for a house for rent. And they found this place. They found a couple places. I think 3 or 4 places they found, but this ended up being the only one actually available. And it happens to be owned by friends who I've known since 2003. But anyway, that water tank is from that house. I brought that with me because, well, it's mine. When I first moved in here, when I first considered the place, all this was trees and plants. And I thought, oh, it was like a jungle out here. Man, look at this. They built something just while I'm sitting in my house. How is that possible? Maybe that was already there and they just cut down the plants that were blocking it. I have to go check that out. I didn't even notice that. Anyway, I was really excited about moving in here because I thought, wow, there's like a forest right behind my house. It's going to be so nice. The day I moved in, they started cutting down trees. They've cut down like 5 trees that were right around here. A couple that are on this side of the house. But and then when I was getting moved in, they told me, "Oh no, you're only renting. This is only the property here is only right to here." Temporarily, I stuck those barrels up and put those tree trunks, whatever they are, tree branches. Yeah, they were from a huge tree at a friend's house, friend's sister, cousin's house, or something like that. I put those across there. It's not supposed to block anybody out. It's just kind of like a marker. Same thing over here, just to mark my territory. Just to mark my territory. That's all. Okay, so now you see the incredible catastrophe that I've moved into. But I really have been working daily. Something I didn't used to do. I used to just sit on my chair and do YouTube all day long. So I've been working. You would never know that I've been working. Well, this sofa, which is unfinished, was made by a friend of mine, Bob. And when he left Guatemala, he was my next door neighbor. He gave it to me. It was supposed to be I think we call it Davenport, the kind that folds up and then lays down to be the kind that sits up and then folds down to be a double bed. And this would have been the back of it. But they were both the same, and I said, well, instead of making a bed that folds down, I'll make 2 sofas. So this one this sofa I've been using for 5 years, more. Yeah, about 5 years. And this one was just in storage. It's not high quality craftsmanship, but it's sturdy, it's solid, and with this mattress, both this and that are just mattresses, cotton mattresses that I bought. So this is the back of it. I just got finished doing that. It's a little bit leaning back to, still needs back a little bit more than I would like, so I think I'm going to have to take it apart and bend these bars out again. But there you go. And that tub I was hoping to put in the bathroom in this house, but it's about an inch too long, so I'm planning on doing something else someday over the rainbow. Newbie. The new dog, I gave her the name Newbie. That's the name we had when I was in the military, in the Army, back in the 70s. When new guys came along, they were newbies. And poor little girl, that's the name she got stuck with, Newbie. So, right here in this room, with more of my stuff stacked up here, I did build this shelf. I didn't build the shelf. I picked this shelf up somewhere, an old discarded shelf. But I said it's a good for tools, so I can start storing stuff in there. Getting that, I built the. Well, I half built this one. Part of it was already built. You can't see it. To store more stuff. Because you know, when you have stuff, you got to have a stuff place. So, I think I'm going to put the tub right there. This way. And a toilet right there. and a sink right here, or vice versa. And from here, right about here, going up about to there with a small platform, just high enough that you could be able to stand up so you can have a shower in the tub. And then from there up to this wall, which is the outer wall of the terrace roof. Hey, Alice. Meow. You coming down just because I said your name? I'm not going to pet you right now. I'm busy. So, the terrace roof. This is the only part of the house that has a terrace roof. The rest of the house has this horrible lamina. They call lamina here. What do you call it? Corrugated metal. That is just in the wind. The wind ruffles it a little bit, so it's and then the rain, when we have the rainy season especially, but even a couple weeks ago, no, a month ago now, we had a really, really hard downpour. Really unusual. Really hard downpour. This is the dry season, so anyway. So you can see these mountains over here. When I was living in the other house, we would see those mountains from another angle. So I was up way over here and moved down and down and down, and here I am. There. Now, if that didn't bore you enough, I don't know what to tell you, because I've got to get back to building my library bookshelf out of wooden boxes. For now, that's what I'm doing. Okay, hey. Well, here's what I was talking about, the bathroom. I was hoping the tub would fit right there, but no. Anyway, there you go. God bless you, and have a good morning, day, evening, whatever.